And welcome to another exciting video. In this one, we'll be going ahead and we'll see how we can create a user interface with React's createElement API. Now, React uses the same API to control and update the DOM that we did in the previous lesson, but it offers so much to the table that we are going to introduce it into the project and rewrite what we have written to React code. So instead of creating DOM elements, we will be creating React elements and then hand those off to React DOM to handle turning those into DOM elements and putting them into the page. If you have ever learned or used React before, you are probably more familiar with the JSX than React's createElement API. But it's important to understand the createElement API first so you understand the magic and can become a code magician yourself. Not to worry, we will get to JSX soon enough. So here, the first thing that we'll do is we'll make use of this unpackaged library. Now it's a fast global content delivery network for everything on NPM. We will be using it to have React on our page. To do that, we'll have our script tags included within the page. So here, just after the root tag, we will have our React libraries included. Now, once we have those libraries, let's go ahead and comment these out and see step by step how we can create the same interface using React. Now, the first thing that we need to do is, in order to create this hello world element, you can see that we had this class name and the inner HTML or inner text, and we were creating it using the document.createElement. Now over here, we'll be creating the same using react.createElement. So we'll say react.createElement. And within this create element, we will be passing a couple of things as parameters. The first thing obviously is going to be what you want to create. Now, as per our example, we will be going ahead with div. So we'll have the div over here. And after this, you can see that when we created this element, we had these two properties in HTML and class name. But over here, we don't have anything of that sort. Instead, we can pass it as object, literal. So here, within curly brackets, what we will be doing is we'll be providing two things. Instead of inner HTML or inner text, we have children. So here we will say children, hello world. And the next thing is the class name. Now class name remains exactly like how we had over here. So we'll say class name as container. Now this basically creates a React element, and we will be having it over here as element. Now once the element is there, the next thing is to render it on the page. For that, we make use of React DOM.render method. Now this basically takes two parameters. First is the element itself that we have created, and the other one is the root element. So here we'll take this line and we'll put it over here. So we have the root element now over here, and let's close this now. So if I now go ahead on this page and reload it, you'll notice that we are still getting the hello world output. If I go to console and then to elements over here, you'll see this div root coming up. Inside that, we have the same div class with the container class name and the text hello world. Now over here, you'll see the script that we have written, and these are the unpackaged libraries that we included with our script tag. Now let's understand this element that we have, because it's not the DOM element that we created earlier using document.createElement. So to understand that, let's go ahead and say console.log, and within this we will be logging the element itself over here. Let's save this and reload. Go to console over here, and within the console you will notice that this is basically coming up as an object, and this object has this props And if you notice, these are the two things that it is showing over here. So children is a property, and then we have class name. Now the cool thing of createElement is that this children can also be passed as a third parameter. So instead of children over here, what I can do is, once I have provided this object literal, I can go ahead and make use of this over here as well. So this hello world, when mentioned as third parameter, still serves the same purpose. And it can also act as an array of things. So here, let's say another text. And if I save this, you'll notice that it is just appending it next to hello world. But if you explore this children option over here under props, you'll find that now children is basically an array. And what you can do is, instead of passing this over here, and this could be anything, any number of text you can have over here, comma separated, and that will act as a children array. You can just take it out from here as third parameter, and then for children, you can specify it as an array itself over here. So I can just go ahead and put it like this, and it is still going to show me the same output. Now, within this children, you can also go ahead and make use of React createElement. You can do that by using the same children attribute, but this time you say that this is React.createElement, and here, let's say you are trying to create a span tag. Now, you are not passing anything over here as object literal, so no class name, nothing of that sort. You can say null to this one, and then over here you can specify these three additional parameters that we had. So this will act as children of this particular thing. And if you specify comma over here, you'll get the same output as you can see over here. But this time, if you see the DOM, you will see that we have the class container, then within that we have the span tag. Now this span is basically containing the hello world and another text, and after that the div is getting closed. Earlier, when we had this children as an array, it was directly part of the div class. Now we have another element within the div, and then we are having the content within that span tag. So in a review, to create React elements and render them to the page, you need to include React and React DOM. React for creating the elements, and React DOM for rendering those elements to the page. Then we still need to get access to some element that's on the page, so we can render our elements to that. So here, that's what we are doing. Then we create our React elements, and we use React DOM.render method to render our element to the root DOM node. So I hope this kind of explains how we have transitioned from this piece of code to React code.